So get some black on my brush. This paper is very thin shrun, single shrun, so I need to make sure my brush is not too wet. Okay, so the way I was taught was to start off with the beak and the eye. Yeah, it's either too wet or it's too dry, always. That's the way it is. Let's see. Okay, we're all right now. So as I was explaining earlier, this is the beak. It is not the nose of the bird. So you don't start your head here. Start your head here, because that's the front of the beak. Like that. So I'm switching brushes. I'm taking up the Big Idea brush, and I'll put a little bit of brown on my brush. This is a very bright brown, and what I usually do is I add a little bit of black to tone it down a bit. I've got the bird here, and it could go in any direction. It could have its back here, or it could have the head like that, and it could be sitting on a branch front, or it could even go that way. Let's see what happens when I put the head on. I've got a little hair hanging out there. I think it's all right. Some birds have a lot of neck, and others, like sparrows and finches, they don't have a very visible neck. But I want to give it just at least a little bit, coming down like that. And then if I'm going to do, this is the front, I have the wing coming here, because you see a little bit of the wing. So you see I have the wider point there, that's the shoulder coming down, and then I will have the black feathers, the bottom feathers, flight feathers down here. Now I'm not going to put those in yet. I'm going to do the belly stroke. Let's see how that comes in, because that will then tell me better how many feathers I need. So I could either do it a full stroke like that, or I can do a little bit of outline. So we've got like that, that's the neck, and we can go like that. And I'm going to leave it like that because the feet will be coming in here. We can have a little bit of black there, we could have red, we could have all sorts of colours. It's really up to the artist. So here we have, and if that looks like it's going to spread more than you want, you can always blot it. And if anybody questions you about a bird, you just say, it's a local bird. And that's what they tell me in China. It's a local bird. All right, so we're down here. The body will come down a little bit further there. So I'm going to put a little bit of black on my brush. And we're going to have some like that, and then we're going to have, see, I'm starting at the bottom and going upwards. And I'm going to guess that the feet are going to be about here. You can change brush. You can do a thinner brush. Usually, it, depends on what I've got in my hand. And then the triangle from the heart for the feet. Okay. So it's sitting on something, all right? So we need to put something in there to tell what it's sitting on. It doesn't really matter. It's a twig, it's a branch, it's a piece of bamboo. We can have it sitting on whatever we like. See, I did that because the wing is there. That's why I came up. And it could go straight. No, we don't want it to go straight. We want it to go like that. So I'm just making it up as I go along. Always a good idea. And we can have some more feathers there or not. What I am going to do is put the tail in, and the tail is not here. The tail is here. It's at the back, and it's at a slant. Bit wetter than I wanted. Always the way. It's either too wet or it's too dry. There we go. And we will bring the wing down a bit. And if we want, we can add a little colour there. Just and when it's a little dry, I'll add the outside feather for that. And I'm going to add a little bit of yellow or yellowy orange for the beak. The beaks come in yellow and blue, brown, grey, all sorts of different colours. You know, choose what you want. Alright, and since I've got this colour on the brush, I'll just use that one to colour in the iris. And you can always say, okay, this bird has some colour down there as well. If you've got the colour on the brush, you might as well use it. Alright. Okay, so that bird is up there. It could be looking down at a flower. We could have a flower down here. And then we can incorporate that branch. We could have, I don't think wisteria in this. I think we need, let me widen that out. Okay. What we need is we need bulk here, because we've got that which is small and narrow. So we need something like a, I don't know, peony. Why not? So here I have a nice bright red. It's got a little bit of blue in it. And I'm going to add some more water. And that's very important to rinse the brush off. If you've got enough colour there, perhaps add a little bit more colour, but rinse your brush off, because otherwise you'll have no gradation of colour. So here I'm reloading the brush. This is carmine. I could also use a rouge tint, which is a nice darker colour. So let's see. Well, this is the center of the paper, and I want to avoid that. So I could have the flower can be partly in the center, but not fully in the center. So it could be here. Let's do it here. Too wet. So I'll be very casual with this. There are definite ways to do peonies, and you do stroke by stroke, and it's very nice, but it will be more loose if it's just letting the brush dance. Now I could stop there, but what I want is something a little larger than that, so that it matches the size of the bird and takes up more room, because there'll be the flower and the leaves. So I'm going to wet the brush again, get a little bit more colour, and again we should have water here, and then lighter, and then redder. So let's see, let's do this one. See how it's growing? There's the center, and then we're doing different rings of petals. It should be possible to stop at any point and say, right, yep, that's done. All right, I think we'll stop there. I may add a little bit of water down here so that those light spots aren't too light, but it's all right like that. Could also add a little, just a little there. Okay. So I'm rinsing off my brush, and I'm going to need to make some green. So for that, of course, blue and a light lemon yellow. If I wanted it to go more towards a khaki colour, then I would add some brown, but I rather like that colour. I'm wiping it off on the side of the saucer so I don't waste that colour, and then I'm going to go and rinse it off. Now, looking at the flower, I'm going to have some flowers up here, or leaves up here probably. I could put a bud up there, too central. So we're going to have some leaves up here, so it's closer to this branch, although this branch can come down to join the flower. So I'm going to put a little bit of black on the tip of the brush. I don't want it very black, but I do want a darker green. All right. And the leaves, they go in patterns of groups of 3. Make this visible to you. It's always too much on here, no matter how much you clear it off. Okay, so there we are. So we want to avoid having a line there. If we had another parallel, that would be very boring. So a little bit of water on the tip, and here we go. Yeah, this paper is, sometimes it's too dry and sometimes it's too wet. Let's see what I need. I need more colours. All right. I think probably it's often better to mix a lot of green, and if you mix a lot of green in advance, then if you want it lighter, you can add more yellow or water, and if you want it darker, just add a bit more black. That looks very dark. Actually, that's just the way it looks in this light. It will dry quite a bit lighter. So that's too horizontal. So we're going to have another leaf that comes out like that. So there's a first group of 3. Another group of 3. And so I think that I'm going to have a branch, I think. Coming down like that, and then if there's that, okay, we'll need some more here. At the moment it's a fairly loose pattern, and after a while I'll be able to make sense of it if I'm not making sense of it now. So let's see, a little bit of, there's the flower. I'm going to put a little bit of stem in there and going off like that. So flowers here, no, just leaves, I think. Again, I'm putting more black on my brush. Ooh, that's a lot of black. Okay. See, sometimes the leaves are big and sometimes they're a bit smaller. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a sense of overall pattern. All right. I still need more weight in here, and I can do that by doing lighter leaves behind, which is nice. I could do more there. I want to avoid heading just for the corner. There's the corner. Come on, screen, come back. There we go. So actually the stem looks like it's coming here, which is fine. So we're going to have some leaves up there. My brown, green, blue mess here is getting a bit messy. So let's see, let's add some more blue. Adding more blue, maybe a little bit of this orangey yellow. That's a nice color too. Gives a slightly different effect. All right, I'm going to do some that are close to the flower now. You see how I'm placing the brush down and then dragging it. A bit of water. And I think probably more will come off this way. That needs to be a bit longer there. All right. So we're sort of edging into the flower here. So it will start to come more to the fore. So we could have dark leaves in here, or we could just have very light leaves, or we could have grey leaves. It doesn't really matter what color we make them. That's going to come down there like that. Okay, so since I'm going to make the two together, then I'm going to say that this is a branch also from the peony. So I'm going to add some red buds up there. Okay, so that's going to come down there. That's going to come down there too somehow. We need just a couple of leaves coming in here. All right. So I'm just figuring out where everything's going now. And the stem down here, it can be green, it can be grey, it can be brown. There's all sorts of different colours, possibilities here. So we've got various branches coming off there, like that. And we're going to need to figure out where these guys are coming from. I guess they're coming from there. Okay. All right, so up here, we're going to need to turn this into, I think it's going to have brown on it, just to show that it's a slightly older branch. I've added some brown there. I haven't rinsed the brush off. It'll have some green on it, which is just fine. Okay, so don't want to make it look like it's coming too straight, but I think that's what it's going to do, isn't it? Unless we have the branch go. Okay, but the branches will matching there. So then we will have something that'll come down here. All right. Okay, so what we've done is we've changed the trajectory. If we'd left it there and come down, then it would have been too vertical. And what I wanted was to have it come down at a little bit more of an angle. So now I'm putting the buds basically. I could have some buds on that too. And then we'll want some red buds up here, maybe even up here as well. So I need some more of the carmine. Just casually, we don't want to arrange them too carefully. Got to put another little branch in there. All right. Do that. I need to do the veins on the leaves, but it's still a little bit too wet. So I'm going to take some, oh God, that's very purple. That's from doing wisteria. So what I'm going to do is these, I don't know what you call them. They hold the buds in place. I used to know all these words. I can't remember what they are now. All right, a bit more of that. And again we can so it's given us a little colour if we want to have a, it looks like I need something there because otherwise it's a little too upright, but I think we want just a very light green. And have to be careful, if you're adding a lot of water then it'll make the stroke a bit washy. So see, that's a very light colour, and I'll dry a lot of it off like that. Let's see what happens just here. Right. And at this point I look around and see if I've got any loose bits that need filling in. And okay, I think it's all right at the bottom. We've got to put some red in there. We could have some just in the background there. And I need some carmine on there. If I had some rouge tint out, I'd probably put rouge tint out. Since I don't have rouge tint, I'm going to have carmine and then add a little bit of black. So it's not quite as strong a colour. So that's what happens at the junctures. Always you have some buds coming out. That would be the next stem that would come out. And up here, yep, there we are. I don't think we need any more because the bird is the focal point there. We've got those. We don't need any more branches. That's fine. And so I need to put a stroke in there to show where the side of the tail goes. It shouldn't be a strong big stroke because we are actually seeing it from the back of the tail, from the underneath. So and we can just bring that down a bit. All right, we've got the feet in. Could have a little bit that side like that. All right, so I will put the veins on the leaves now. As I say, it's a bit wet, but what I'll do is I will put black and a little bit of carmine. The carmine will prevent it, I hope, from doing lots of spreading. So the trick is to have the brush pretty dry. So let's see, do I need to, yeah, I will tighten it in a bit. Okay, so I'm not going to do a lot of veins. I'm going to do at least the central vein and then maybe two on the side. And with the central vein, that's the strongest, and you start at the point where it comes off the stem, and then you get lighter in stroke and how much you press. All right. And if you're not following completely all the patterns, you may that's not a problem. After all, they're just strokes that are telling a story, and you can tell the story whichever way you want to tell it. Okay. I'm leaving those, the lighter ones, till the end because I may want to lighten the colour on my brush. That's hanging off a bit, but I don't think it really matters. Okay. Now you may have noticed that I actually, on some of them, if they're on this side, I may come down from the top of the leaf, like that. It really depends on what's easy for you. My teacher told me always top to top, bottom, left to right. But, you know, rules can be broken. All right, so I need a lighter colour there. Just that and not those. Okay. So, all right, they hang together. I'm going to pull out. Okay. So you can see the whole painting. Now we will put, is it dry enough? Yeah, I think it is. We're going to put some stamens in there. We can't see much because that's the petal that's in front. So we can't actually see into the cup of the peony that much. Right, now these are known as diddles. They're just little strokes that sort of say, right, it's a little bit of grass and whatever. It's grounding the peony. I have to figure out where I'm going to sign it. Where are my options? There's there. And sign there. I don't think down there because we've already got a fair bit. But on the other hand, that's kind of nice coming over like that. We might want that. There. Yeah, no, I don't think up there. I think probably down there. That was a surprise. I thought it was going to have to be higher. So I'm going to rinse off my thinnest brush and sign it. Signing it doesn't mean that I've actually done all the strokes I'm going to do, because once you signed it, you may see some other things that you need to do. I'm going to zoom in so that you can see me sign. And I'm signing Wei Jian, which is my Chinese art name, translates loosely as nothing but love. It's compassion or love. And that, no, I think about there. And here's Wei, bit wet. Wei, and there's Jian. All right, so yeah, it's a bit wet. I'll put in, I could see if I could do it with the yellowy orange. Because the black we know is going to run for sure, but the yellowy orange probably won't. So let's try putting just a few little stamens peeking out. All right. Yes, sort of shows. One thing you can do is you can do the stamens in black, and then you can add a an opaque white and yellow on top. That's one way you can do it. All right, so let's see. I'm going to zoom out all the way. Okay, so I think that works.